The United States has 3.5 million homeless each year, according to Homeaid.com. My name is Frank Osmeyer, and today I'm going to be telling you why you need to partake in the True Charity Initiative. The National Center for the Homeless did a 2005 survey, and they found that there's no main one cause for homelessness. They found that 16% of the homeless have a severe and persistent mental illness. 5 to 7% needed to be institutionalized. There are also 11% of veterans. There's also the issue of people being in hospitals or prisons or other institutions for so long they lose the ability to do basic things like paying bills, holding down a job, buying food, and being responsible with money. There's also the issue of people being unemployed. If you don't make money, you can't buy anything. There's also the issue of the lack of affordable housing. That 2005 survey found that minimum wage jobs required people to work 89 hours a week in order to afford housing and other amenities at 30% of their budget, which is the federal standard for affordable housing. That's not affordable housing. They also found that of the 24 cities that were surveyed, 50% of them claimed domestic violence to be their number one cause for homelessness. And that's not that unthinkable because we all know at least one person who's the victim of domestic violence, be it a friend, a family member, or yourself. Now, what that does is it causes people to pack up their bags and leave very suddenly with no plans in place. It's pretty much done on a whim because they're tired of being abused and being the victim. There's also substance abuse. That 2005 survey found that 30% of the homeless were abusing some sort of substance. It also claimed that there's no real accurate number because another survey found that 65% people hide illegal activities. That's a fact. Also, there's the issue of low-income and poverty-level families. Poverty-level families are set at $11,880 a year and $4,160 for each additional person. That is according to Economic Security Corporation. And they also claim that there are allowances for up to 200%, both those numbers, for poverty because no one can live off that little amount of money. And if you're making that little amount of money or something close to that, or, you can't really pay for sudden things like illnesses, accidents, your car breaking down, so you can easily lose your job if one thing goes wrong because you can't afford to suddenly get a new car or have a $500 repair done because that's a massive amount of your bill. Also, there are many things in place, but they don't really work that well, like federal assistance for living, which used to be just given out freely, but then they got the routinely denying. That's also according to Economic Security Corporation, one of their workers, who is also a family member of mine. There's the issue in which the Center for Budget and Policy Priorities claims that 4.8 million assisted living units were available in 2005, and 4 million were freed from poverty because they were able to receive basic supplies. But it's also found that when you give handouts like that, it can cause people to become dependent on that and easily lose their ability to act on their own. Also, there are public homeless shelters, which are a big problem for police because there's massive amount of substance abuse and there's also plenty of crimes. There's no speaking of really what happens in there. I've been to one and it was horrific. There was one guy who was found that day after chopping a dude up with a machete. There are also places for mental illness to gather easily. However, there are better solutions like charity and church-based assistance, like Watered Gardens, which is part of the True Charity Initiative, which is the idea that charities and local churches and other organizations pool together their resources and create a network to alleviate and resolve homelessness and take over some of the federal budget for it, of which TrueCharity.us claims that 2/3 of the federal budget goes to welfare. And their goal is to free that up for other important things. Now, this particular place, Watered Gardens, also does some faith teaching. They also have people work for their food or bed to stay in, and they found that it works really well. Research suggests that working provides the ability to release massive amounts of endorphins. And there's a saying that closely ties with this, and it's actually very close to what they said in a commercial 2 years ago, which is, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach him to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. If you just give money and food to people, they don't really learn to respect it. And honestly, I believe that we need to give them the initiative to start living on their own. And for that, I believe that the True Charity Initiative is the best option because it allows us to do just that.